now the institutions are taking leadership in supporting innovations and entrepreneurship for students so that they can turn themselves into entrepreneurs. So when this comes, as that the government is now putting the thrust on innovation, entrepreneurship, and making the young generation as entrepreneurs, that is what is going to change the face of the world. There has been last 2 years where we had this COVID has taught a lot. When we understood the importance of being instead of being a manufacturing hub, we were a service hub. When India produced more of quality manpower instead of products. So that is when suddenly when the world came into a standstill, all the service industries got on a standstill. So the jobs were lost, people lost their job opportunities, and this brought a recession. If we would have been a manufacturing hub like what China is, this pandemic would have helped us better cope economically. So we are fortunate to have a leadership in the government which has understood the importance of being a manufacturing hub as well, along with being a service providing country. So that is when now we are being importantly paying attention to Make in India and other such activities. The government is putting a lot of efforts on gradually becoming self-reliant and self-dependent on manufacturing. But we understand it's not going to be an overnight thing. It has to be through a lot of people giving contribution towards that, startups giving contribution. It's great to have startups like Zomato, which just had an IPO of overwhelming 60,000 crore rupees. No doubt that's important for us. But we need manufacturing capabilities as well. We need to increase manufacturing capacities in India so that those products could be sold and foreign currencies could be earned. So this is where manufacturing takes a lead over IT. It's not that IT is being downgraded or something like that. I'm just giving an example that Zomato, without having even a single outlet, has a worth of 60,000 crore rupees. That's overwhelming and great for a country. But we also need to have our expertise in manufacturing, because Zomatos are not going to give us food tomorrow. Zomatos are only going to provide services. We need manufacturing. We need medical devices to be made in India. We need strategic equipments made in India. How long can we depend upon imports? And if such things like we had some tensions with our neighbors, if this happens and suddenly the imports or the exports from that country to India are reduced, then what? Our entire ecosystem and economy would come to a standstill. So we need to be self-reliant. Now the world has understood the importance of having China plus one policy. So this is a huge, huge opportunity for us to grab, that we can become one of the leaders in manufacturing. India has been known to be a good manufacturing hub, but we lost that battle to China because of our policies of creating more of trained manpower for service industry than creating thrust on manufacturing. But fortunately, we are back on track. Along with good quality manpower, we are also going to become good manufacturing hubs. So let's start with the session today. For all this, what I had discussed, we need something as a product. So now let's come to that. So we are going to talk about how to design a product and what is market fit. So when we go with that, I'll just like to introduce what entrepreneurship is all about. Entrepreneurship, if you can see, is a word coming from the French language, meaning to undertake, and to undertake any specifically business. And now this has been brought into mainstream, where an entrepreneur is someone who starts a business, organizes it, manages it, and creates all the required support system around it. So that's an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurship is much more talked about in today's world, as we have seen that companies which are very young have a very small footprint and have a very high valuation, which even companies with centuries old uh, footprints can't have. Just I gave an example of Zomato, Facebook, Google. All these are startups less than 10, 12 years, 15 years, but have valuation that is worth billions of dollars. So that is where entrepreneurship can make a big difference to the country's economy. Our honorable Prime Minister has said that he wants to take India as a $5 trillion economy, sorry, $3 trillion economy. Rather, we are 3 trillion today, we need to be $5 trillion economy. So what if we had, if you could have, if you know, Apple has been valued at more than $1 trillion in value. A company more than $1 trillion in value. So if we had 4 or 5 Apple companies in India, we would have easily become an economy that would have a value more than $5 trillion. So that is what having companies within a country can make a difference. People take entrepreneurship and capitalism as because like they are wrong people. They have more of a exploitatory mindset. But unfortunately, this is all the communist thoughts processes that prevailed in the world in 50s and 60s, where capitalism was thought to be wrong, where people were thought to be, the people who were rich were thought to be all bad people because they had looted the money from the poor people, which is not the case. Rich people or capitalists or entrepreneurs, they create job opportunities, they pay taxes, they create level playing fields, they develop the country. Just imagine what is the difference between Mumbai and Bhagalpur of Bihar. They are two cities, no difference in that. Then what's the difference? Bhagalpur has more of village people who are more, both are districts. Bhagalpur district probably has more of farmers, whereas Mumbai has more of entrepreneurs. So that is what makes the difference, which is, so Maharashtra becomes one of the richest states in India just because they have Mumbai with them, they have Pune with them. That these two cities contribute to the major sources of revenues. Others may be Nashik or Nagpur, where they have sugar mills or other factories. So why? Because entrepreneurs came there, settled, and created job opportunities. Similarly with Delhi, Bangalore, and Chennai. So that is what we need, more of entrepreneurs. Now the communist thought process needs to be kept aside. We need to grow as a capitalist country with more of a social outlook. Nowadays, there is a new term added to entrepreneurship, and that is when technology-based entrepreneurs develop, they are called as technopreneurs. They develop some technologies which are based on they've developed technologies and create businesses around that. What is Zomato? Zomato is just a piece of app, a piece of technology that has made its value worth 60,000 crores. It's giving employment to hundreds and hundreds of thousands of young people who are, who, if this would not have been the case, would have been jobless. So if we have many companies like this, so this creates job opportunities and equality in the society. So that's where technopreneurship comes into place. So some of the famous entrepreneurs of the world and India, where you can think about when the word entrepreneurs comes to your mind. So from our own Dhirubhai Ambani to Mr. Sachin Bansal to Elon Musk, and the founder of Virgin Galactic, Sir Richard Branson, they are all breaking the old school thoughts of the world. An elderly billionaire who's in his 70s becomes the first billionaire in space, goes on his own technology, developed own technology products that are his spacecrafts, Virgin Galactics. So that is what the entrepreneurs create Every one of those faces you see here have created something. You know, Mr. From Sun Microsystems, he is Mr. Vinod Khosla. You all work on Java. He's the creator of that. Thomas Alva Edison on the top right, left corner, he created, everyone knows, from a light bulb to GE, which is in all the fields. Steve Jobs created iPhones. Elon Musk is no doubt creating a lot of history. He's breaking all the old school thoughts. So that is where entrepreneurs make a difference. And now it was a recent tweet by Mr. Mahindra that entrepreneurs must now be celebrated. Hello. Sorry. So the entrepreneurs must be celebrated like movie stars. So this is when entrepreneurship would be celebrated in the country. So we are moving on the right path. So this is what entrepreneurship is. This is talk to any entrepreneur who has been through this journey for some time, he or she would exactly agree to that. It's not a bed of roses. It's not a cruising road, smooth road to walk on or drive on. This is a roller coaster ride. And the best part is this ride never ends. You cannot get out of this roller coaster until and unless you give up. And most entrepreneurs do not give up. So a day you are on the abysmal depths of frustrations and failures, another day you are on the top of the world. This is what entrepreneurship helps you get, that strong adrenaline junkies which need an adrenaline thrust throughout the life. They must get into entrepreneurship. Elon Musk sold PayPal at $118 million and spent the entire money building SpaceX and Tesla, which are still not making money. So that is what is entrepreneurship all about. So for entrepreneurship, what you need is something like, let's move ahead. What is this? This is the latest iPhone. What is this? A page showing Google products. What is this? The pride of India, BrahMos supersonic missile, which is being developed into hypersonic missile as well. This is the famous Amul butter, Bisleri water, and the beautiful Bugatti Chiron. What is common among Bugatti Chiron and Bisleri, Amul butter, BrahMos, Gmail, Google Chrome, Android, Google Drive, YouTube, and iPhone? The common thing here is that they are all products. Products brought up by companies for the use of the masses. So every entrepreneurship is built around a product. The product may be it's a substance, article, that or a thing that has been manufactured for sale. The manufactured and refined for sale is an important term here. So that is what a product is. What else? It's also a thing or a person. It's a result of an action of process. Your teachers, your professors are making you into products. So tomorrow you will call yourself, I'm a product of D.Y. Patil Institute. So that is, a person may be a product, an article may be a product, and even products can be intangible. Intangible means they're not, you can't touch. Can you touch Gmail? Can you touch a bank loan? Can you touch insurance policy? These are also products offered by banks. Can you touch Zomato? Can you touch Swiggy? So these are all products offered by companies for financial activities. So there is a difference between a prototype and a product. Which one would you buy, or anyone would buy? That's a cardboard prototype and this is a hardcore product. So everyone would go for a product because product shows that it has been meticulously designed, worked upon, and all those things look similar and are almost similar. So that is why there is a lot of repeatability in products. So how do you define a peculiarity in the product? So it's tangible or intangible, as I described. It has gone through the intentional efforts to refine it. So that is what is makes it a product. Like you were a school student before getting into the college, and after this meticulous efforts put in by your institute and your teachers, you would become a product. Their outcome is sustained, continuous, and events of iterations in the items of service being offered. Most of the college students from your institute, say for example, or from the course of pharmaceuticals, so all of you would have at least a level of understanding of your subject. So that is what is, you have a sustained outcome. And that is why that determines the institute's capacity and quality, where the basic level of understanding of the students or the output of the products is higher, that institute is ranked higher, and vice versa. And there is a variation in each and every student. So that is what has an iteration. A small iteration has been done. Some was more serious during the studies, some were more practical during the studies. So those aspects are taken care by individual variations. Often the face of the company, some products become the face of the company. People many times do not even know the name of the company, they know the name of the product. Do you know which company manufactures, what should I give an example? Yeah, Lux soap. No, you don't know. Which company makes,
Hindustan Unilever.
Pardon?
Hindustan Unilever.
Yes, yes. So you know it, but not many people know. So that is why, because Lux has become the face of the company. So I was just giving such examples. Thank you for your answer. iPhones have become the face of Apple company. Gmail has become, and Google search engine has become the, and all these products do not belong to Google. Google is not a company, it's a product. Can someone name the company behind all these products? I would like to have some. Pardon?
Alphabet.
Yes, very correct. Yes, very correct. Alphabet. So Alphabet is the company. Alphabet Incorporation is the company that has all these products, from an Android development system to Gmail to Google and everything. So these are what the face of the company, how products become the face of the company. To develop a product, you have to have a lot of efforts put in to design it, because designing is an important aspect of every product. How it would look, how it would feel, how the people would interact with that. So that is what is design. So to develop a product to be likable by many, you need to design it well. Can you name a product that was not designed well, but you can still remember it? Anything. I would love an interaction. Any bike or a scooter or any car that you did not like in design?
Nano car.
Nano car.
Nano,
okay.
Nano, right.
Okay, Nano. Someone else?
Sir, diesel engine.
Diesel engines? No, our diesel engines are very efficient.
So it was a mistake.
That might be a mistake of development, but it was an effort. Efforts were done. Diesel engines are totally based on a different technology than petrol engines. So you can't say it was a mistake at that point of time. Yeah, fuel was difficult and all those things were difficult. They were very polluting. So that's why it was said to be a mistake. But now today's diesel engines are far more efficient than petrol engines. But yeah, tell Vespa scooter. Someone said Vespa scooter. Okay.
Sir, I have a question.
Yeah.
Sir, actually, Nano car was not a, I think it was not a mistake of design. It was the mistake of costing. Like Indian people.
We'll talk about that. We'll talk about that. You're going on the right thing. We'll talk about that. I'm just talking about the design aspect. See, there are many people who like Vespa scooter. Many people who like Nano car. I personally like Nano car. So that doesn't mean that the car or the scooter or any other product was badly designed. You will always find people who would love something, or which most of the people may hate. So the condition here is that what most of the people like. It's not about what I like or what you like. It's about what most of the people like. Today, one of the most what do you call it, as successful cars from Maruti Suzuki company is what do you call it as Swift. So Swift is a design that is being accepted by many people. It's not only the design, it's the features of the car, the pricing of the car, the performance of the car. There are so many things in that, but design is one of the most important aspects in that. So design has to be taken care into during the process of a product development. Because who needs to buy the product? The customers. And who the customers are? They together make the market. So your product should be market fit. That is when design comes into place. So that is what the design aspect we'll be talking about. So how do you communicate design? If I would like to communicate my thoughts about, say, for example, I wanted to make a device that could help in communicating with a computer, or which helps in input and could help on moving the cursors on the screen, and then could help me click and unclick or select or deselect all those things. It would be very difficult if there had been no means of communication in this way. This was very confusing. If I had a designer who would be developing a device for me, would not be better understanding. So how do you express that? So drawings are the best ways how you express that. Okay. So what the design aspects do, just a minute. Yeah. So a plan or a drawing produced to show the look and functions of a working of a building, a garment, or an object before it is made. If I want to make a mouse, the mouse has gone out of that. Yeah. If I want to make this mouse, so what I'll have to communicate, how this would look, how this would feel, and these are my thoughts about it. So that is what is the design aspects would help in. So the best way to do is draw and show. You may not be a very good sketcher in the process, but still you can communicate. How bad our drawings you have, but still you can communicate. A sketch artist would make it for you. Here you can see a mouse being designed, and the other way, on the other side, you can see an electric kettle being designed with a display and touch screens and all those things to make it look fancy and different. So that's how the design process starts. Then when you, so everything, every product that is being designed for a customer, and mostly the customers are humans. So there are three aspects: basic, the form, how the device or the item or the design or the house or the garment would look like, its function, and the human aspect. Like for example, if we talk about a raincoat or an umbrella, both have same function but different forms. They both interact differently with you. You wear a raincoat like a jumpsuit or an overall coverall, or the umbrella, you hold it in your hands. So that is how the function interacts with the humans and the form interacts with the human. Same, this mouse has a form that my hand interacts with, and it has functions which my system interacts with me, the computer, and the mouse. This entire system works with. So that is all the design aspects. So what you see here is an overlapping among these things. So when form and function overlap, so what do you think? When would someone need to interact with the form and the function? Like my cell phone. This has a peculiar function of making calls. It should be handy. It should be capable of being carried in the hands. And I could carry it anywhere. It should be lightweight. So that is the function, and it should be able to make connections, call connections. I can see what is being displayed on the screen. All the things need to be covered, and that is what is industrial design. A designer who would design a phone for me or my company would be an industrial designer. He or she would take care of the form and the function. When the form and the humans behave, interact with each other, Like how the phone is going to be in my hands, how is this phone going to be weighed, how easy its communication would be. That is what is called as the communicating design. And this is basically the human computer interface or the human machine interface. And then comes the most important aspect, that is when functions and human interact. And that is what is design thinking. When nowadays, this is a new super speciality in the design where people have started thinking in a way where how the humans and the functions would interact. And this stream is called as design thinking. And what's the importance of design? Design helps you to enhance the utility, to improve the utility, make the product peculiar, distinguishing feature. The design becomes your distinguishing feature from others. Ergonomics. Ergonomics means where the product or the item becomes user friendly and is comfortable to be used by most of the humans. Like every building, every public building is nowadays being designed as it's convenient for the differently abled people as well. That is, there are ramps along with the staircases so that the people who have special requirements can also get into those buildings. So that is what is ergonomics. Safety. Safety is an important aspect of product design. Unique selling proposition. Every product is being designed for a business opportunity and it should have the unfair advantage in the market so that people get attracted towards the product and that gets a better position in the market. Part of the marketing strategy. Many people did not know that many products are not the brand, are not of the name of the companies. They are basically the products, but they themselves become the name of the company. Like Maruti 800. It was the model name was only 800. The Maruti name of the company became along with 800. That was a part of the marketing strategy. Aligns with the company motto, that what company is destined to develop, that is what should be reflected from the company's products. And the designs, like designs from Apple. Apple products are totally designed in such a way that they look apart from all the other products with similar functionality. So that is what is the importance of design, and millions of dollars spent by Apple design. Just now let's talk about these all aspects. Utility. These are two means of what you call it as transportation. So would someone conveniently be using that motorcycle or this engine based device within a large tractor wheel to commute? Yeah, for a fancy dress parade or to just look different, people may buy it, but it's not a convenient or a safe or a utilitarian product. So this product only has a chance of being a product in the market it's not a product for market. These have been developed by amateurs for their own sake of interest, sake of zeal, sake of enjoyment. You can't go and buy a single wheel motorcycle from a company or from a showroom. So that is where they lack in utility. Peculiarity. This is a stapler pin remover, a common stationery item. It's sold for say 50, 60 rupees or somewhere 100 rupees. It's a common stationery product or available anywhere. Suddenly, I thought that we also want to make this product, but there is already a lot of competition in the market and there is very less margin on this product. So what can I do? This is what I designed. I put in design efforts, designed the outer case of that pin remover into a crocodile head. And now this becomes a piece of art instead of a piece of stationery item. And I can charge 500 rupees for that, which was sold for 100 rupees. I can sell it for 500 rupees. That is what is designing can make a difference. Why are these supercars like you saw, Bugatti Chiron, cost so high? They have their design aspects added to that. Along with the engines, technology and all those things, they have the design aspects. And design is not a cheap thing. It comes at a very high cost. So designing improves the look of the product and makes it a distinguishing feature. This is how it makes your product stand apart. Ergonomy. This is a common keyboard. People who are on to this for long hours due to their work requirements often feel pain in the wrist, because you can see here the wrists are more adducted. Are abducted instead of being adducted, because the alignment of the bones is not in such a way like the keys on the keyboard. So this creates a lot of pain in the wrist. So what would have been a good solution? An ergonomic keyboard, which allows hassle-free, strain-free movement of the fingers on this keyboard, and the wrists are also comfortably placed so that they do not pain, and long hours of work could be done on this keyboard. Then comes safety. What you see here is a balcony with a lot of beautiful pots placed there. So people love keeping plants in their homes, but unfortunately this is a very dangerous scene. Why? Because of wind or due to some other things hitting, these pots can fall down, and a pot falling from a height can become dangerous for a person if it falls on someone. So this is a design for safety. These are specially designed pots which are not easy to tilt. They do not fall easily off the windowsills and balcony railings. They can be placed, make your house beautiful, make your house healthy, and as well as be safe for the people down under. So this is what the design aspect of safety inculcates. Then unique selling proposition. Unique selling proposition, every company or every product that has a unique selling proposition, otherwise it's not being sold. What is a USP of Google over Yahoo or other search engines? Google is very fast. That's why Google took over all those previous search engines, and today is the only known search engine for most of the people. And now instead of a product, it has even become a verb. You get to hear this many times. Go and Google it. I Googled it. I Googled you on, I Googled you. So this is all about when the product becomes a unique selling proposition, and how this unique selling proposition differentiates it into a altogether different product category, and you get a unfair advantage in the market. Just have an example of this. This is a red motorcycle from some part of the world where it's doing great. It's doing its purpose very well. It has a great fuel efficiency. It's a comfortable bike to ride. It's affordable. It's extremely, it can carry load as well. So it's a beautiful bike. Would you like to buy it? Some would say yes. But let me show you an example, another example or an option for this. Now, which one? So the unique selling proposition in the bike below, in comparison to the bike above, is that the bike below has a lot of design efforts put into that. Along with, I'm not talking about the technology part. Probably they may be of the same company with the same engine probably. But what differentiates them is that this has a beautiful looking design. It has altogether different looks. It shouts that this bike is made for speed. So that is what the unique selling proposition of the design is. Aligning with the company motto. That is very important, that what your company has been doing and is going to do has to be shown through the products. Like just for example, this is a red car. It's a two-seater red car somewhere from India. It has been converted to look good and to do some purpose. And then there is another car, Both are red, both are four-wheelers, both are two-seaters, both help you move from one place to the other. But which one would align with the company motto of being the manufacturer of high-speed cars? Do you think even with the design of the car on the left upper corner, it could be even made for speed? It could even touch the speed barrier of 100 kilometers per hour. But the car on the down right corner, you can see has no problems even touching 300 kilometers per hour. So that is what is, you don't have to think about that. The product automatically aligns with the company motto. And company motto and company ethos take a lot of time to build and break. If Ferrari made a slow car, this would be a total failure for their product to be, for their next products to be made. And if these company, probably this is more of a obsolete company or some obsolete product. So they made fast looking cars, but people would not have trusted their design and their product. So that is what aligns with the company motto. That is what is important. So how the product designing is done? Ideation, that is sketching. Then a design proposal is made. Okay, I want to make this. If you are a founder of a company, you will talk to your technical team that this is what we need to do. Do we have the bandwidth? Do we have the technical limits? Do we have the technical support for this? For this, that is what is feasibility analysis. A report is made and submitted for that brainstorming session. After the feasibility analysis, prototypes are made, and then feedbacks are taken from the people who are going to be the end users. And at the end, finalizing the product and its design roadmap so that it could be developed from a prototype to a final commercially ready product into the manufacturing process. These are sketches being made for product development. Then the design proposal has been submitted, where you have to have a management control on that. Whether do we have the technical skills? Do we have the budget with that? Do we have the management skills to manage it? Do we have the support system available? So all these things help you make a design proposal. And when design proposals are made, they are subjected to discussions among your board, your mentors, your teammates, or if you are a big company, among the board of directors and the technical heads who are going to contribute to that. And that is when the feasibility analysis has to be done. And when the feasibility analysis comes up as a result, that's when the product goes into the next phase. So how do we startups do that? Does it meet our requirement? We think about that. Is it appealing? Is it practical? Is it feasible? And do we have the budget to do that? I want to make a spaceship that can return back without the, just like what Elon Musk is doing, but for India. So do I even have the budget to even think about that? So that is how the design proposals are being made. Then feasibility analysis, that group of experts or the teammates or the stakeholders or mentors sit and discuss all these things. Do we even need it? Do we even have the capability? Do we even have a demand? Do we even need to make it spend money on that? And what is the endpoint that when we can stop? Okay, now this is done. We are not able to do that. Now we can stop it. Do we have feasibility studies with that? And would we be able to do justice when we are developing it? So this is all the feasibility analysis. And then comes prototyping. Prototyping can be done by sketching. Yeah, this is how the houses are prototyped, by making sketches or CAD designs, computer aided designs. Buildings and houses are designed in that way. Products are also designed in sketching. The first step always is sketching. Then modeling with clay. Automotive designs first take form in the form of a clay model. Wood is also used. Metal can also be used, and other materials can be used. Cardboard, sunboard, medium density, these particle boards. Then you can even electronic, for example, in electronics, you have ready-made boards available. Development board like Arduino, you know about Arduino, or the Raspberry Pi. These are all assembly ready materials, and you can assemble and put on the shields and then different purposes could be solved for prototyping. Then comes how the looks and forms are prototyped. They're done by rapid prototyping. And then rapid prototyping, we have various ways of doing it, like a sketch of a dinosaur skull, converted into a CAD 3D model, rendered into a CAD design, computer-aided design using various softwares. You need to have an expertise in designing them. And then a 3D printer, fused material deposition, FMD methods, or in that you can build 3D prototypes. Nowadays, these 3D printers, which are commonly called in the common terms, are as cheap as the ordinary laser printers. So now they are not beyond the reach of many people. Hobbyists can also keep those 3D printers with them. These are these on the right, on the left corner, what you see is a printer with plastic filament, which it uses to make various designs. You can see a dragon 3D printed model of that. These are large 3D printers which are used for industrial purposes. Nowadays, even faster methods of using laser, lights, and resins for 3D printing has come up. So these are various methods. Your college also might have various facilities. You can go through local vendors who give you this support system, and this is how you can do the 3D rapid prototyping. Then comes the important aspect of feedback. You have to take feedback from your end users, how it looks like. So companies keep on doing surveys about that. So that's how they keep on getting feedback, and feedbacks should not be just based on 1 or 2 persons' perspective. Otherwise, your product would never come up. Like, for example, my friends from the audience who said that they do not like nano car. So Tata would have never built that nano car if he had taken suggestions from these 2 people only. So because design choice is a personal thing. I may like something, I may the others, which others may not like. So that is what, it's totally a personal thing. There is no right or wrong in that. So always have a larger perspective, how the device would look like. So that helps you improve products, make more useful, but sometimes feedbacks are also discouraging. Many products are shelved or left from development after being, after the feedbacks. Now the important aspect, why are we doing it? To make the product a market fit. So market is a very dynamic thing. It changes from time to time. Like when today's millennials, you guys are growing up, the entire market dynamics has changed. Young people prefer renting things than buying, putting investments in that. And peoples of our parents' generation relied on buying things and owning things. So that is how the market is changing. So you have to keep your products perfectly fit in the market. So what this is, this helps you understand the market needs. That is when only your product would be sellable. If I have a barista, if I have a cafe coffee day, and I have a Starbucks just besides me and opposite my store, can my coffee be sold at 200 rupees a cup when Starbucks, barista, and cafe coffee day are my neighbors? That won't help. Would Pankaj's coffee be sold at 200 or 500 rupees when barista and all those things are nearby? No. So I'll have to place myself in a different way. That is how I make the same product a market fit. So that is what I can do. How can I make that product a market fit? So the product must fit to its value for the end user. What is barista? Why is barista, cafe coffee day, or Starbucks? What do they sell? They don't sell coffees. They sell experience. This is what their pitch says. We don't sell coffees. We sell experience. Having coffee at a cafe coffee day, or a barista, or a outlet, or the Starbucks outlet is a totally different experience. You have comfortable environment. You have congenial staff to take care of your orders, and you have ample time to sit and talk to your friends, your colleagues, or your business associates, where in the market you would not have found that space. So that is what is there. That's what they are selling. That is why their coffees are very, very, very much more costlier than a regular coffee sold on the door, on the roadside. The customer feedback is very important. Every cafe coffee day outlet, when or a Pizza Hut outlet, I am just forgetting, they have a ringing bell also. When you get out, when you step out of that, if you are happy, just ring the bell. That is what is customer feedback. One customer gives a good feedback, seeing them, other customers also just ring the bell and give a positive customer feedback. That is what is enhances a feeling of being happy, and that is what is brings those customers back to them. So continued innovation, every product that has comes with a continuous innovation process. Paytm, from where it started to 10 years back, is totally different now. Ola started as a cab rental service, has now become the manufacturer of electric scooters and now owns Asia's largest two-wheeler manufacturing facility. So that is what is a continuous innovation process to keep you market leaders and be fit in the market. Because last 1.5 years for all these companies which were supplying services of cabs, hotels like Oyo and all these things have gone in bad shape because of loss of business. So Ola pivoted from a service provider to a manufacturer, and that's how they are improving. And timing of the product must be right. Bringing in a product that is 10 years ahead of its time makes it a flop product for the market. Again, utility comes into the mind. Does this product make it a fit for the market? No, it's not convenient. It's not safe. It's not utilitarian. I can't carry myself comfortably on this monocycle. Complexity and feedback. Does anyone know Windows Vista? That was a product offered by Windows after, I think, XP. So this was highly complicated. It was very high on the demands of the RAM and all the needs of the hard disk and the processor. So most of the computers didn't support that, and hence it was a big failure. It could not survive in the market, and Windows Vista had the shortest span in the market. Continuous innovation. If you fail to innovate, you end up like Nokia. One of the Finland's largest telecom manufacturer is now sold to a Chinese company, Chinese owned Nokia. They failed to understand the world is moving towards smartphone. They were happy with their Symbian operating system, which was primitive. Suddenly, Android opened, Google purchased Android, and that changed the scenario. It all became open source, and suddenly, when such a big company backs up a technology, so all the users turned towards Android, and Symbian became outdated. They were very rigid that they won't go on Android. They partnered with Windows and made phones with smartphones which were Windows driven. But Windows never caught on smartphones. They were very sluggish. So along with Windows and Symbian, Nokia also perished. So that's why you need to keep on innovating. Timing. Do you know what this is? Can someone tell me? Okay, this is Google Glass. Google Glass was a way ahead technology of its times, where their entire computer gets into that strip on the band of the spectacle, and a camera and a projection system within the glass part of this becomes your entire screen. So that is what was way ahead of its time. And Google, though, brought it as a huge opportunity product, but could not even, Google also could not keep it for the market. So that is what is timing important. Then your dear Nano car. The problem with Nano was it's not badly designed. It's an iconic design, rather, I would say. In Western world, it is one of the cutest looking car. The Smart and the Nano, these are the two cars which have the most good looking designs. Smart is from Mercedes. So Nano, the problem with Nano was aspirations. Nano was never a cheap car. Nano was never a bad car. Nano outperformed Maruti 800 and Alto in many things. But the tag, cars in India are not bought for commuting. They are bought for showing off. Let me be very clear. In India, people do not buy cars for commuting. If they bought cars for commuting, Maruti 800, India would not have been seeing cars beyond Maruti 800. In India, people buy cars, rather in most of the world, everywhere in the world, other than traveling and transportation purposes, cars are bought for show off and as a sign of your status symbol. So if you want to have a car as a status symbol and still everyone shouts that it's just a lakh rupee car, which is even lesser than what a motorcycle would have costed, why would someone buy that? So that is what 1 lakh takiya car, that the tag, which never had a price at 1 lakh rupees. That price, that tag killed the car. The top end of this Nano Twist, the next generation car, was around 4 lakh rupees, which was way costlier than the many of the cars in the Maruti offered by Maruti, Hyundai and other companies. This was even better performing than those cars. But because the tag, 1 lakh rupe ki car, people looked the owners of these cars as, oh, just can afford a Nano only. So that was it. This product did not match to the aspirations. This product did not match to the aspirations of the market. That's why it got failed. Bugatti Chiron, if you remember on the front part of the presentation, early part of this presentation, that car costs just 16 crore rupees. Just 16 crore. What is the different purpose that Bugatti Chiron does, which a Nano doesn't? Nano can seat 4 people, whereas Chiron can seat only 2. The thing is, Nano does not shout about your financial condition. Whereas Bugatti Chiron, if I drive Bugatti Chiron, I would not need to introduce myself. I would only be a billionaire in that case. So that is what is matching the aspirations of the market. Aspirations are very important in the market. So that is why when you're designing a product, keep that in mind as well. So talking about all these things, these are more of the things which I learned the difficult way. I was not that fortunate. I was a part of the generation where the government was not that supportive for entrepreneurship, that previous governments did not understand the value of entrepreneurship and what changes they can bring to the country. So I had to learn all those things in a difficult way. But you all are fortunate. You have people like me who can share their difficult journeys and help you sail faster and get to the success sooner. So I'll share my experience of how I developed a product. Will just take 3 to 4 minutes more. So I'm the founder of Cutting Edge Medical Devices Private Limited. We are a medtech startup company. We are developing affordable, reliable medical devices for the masses. The problem with the first product that we are solving is that in India, there are more than 31.7 crore people who are vulnerable to kidney disease, and they don't know that. And because of this, many of them are going to get chronic kidney disease. Unfortunately, India has around 20 crore people suffering from chronic kidney disease, and see the magnitude of burden they pose, unfortunately, on the country. If you have so many sick people, the taxpayers' money would go for their treatments and creating infrastructure for that. And that is the cost on the exchequer. So what if we could detect it early? So we have devised a device that is called a Syntiglo for early detection of kidney diseases with a simple urine test. You just need to put in urine sample, add our proprietary reagent, and on the device, you can just within 2 seconds get the results with a lab-like accuracy at your doorstep. You don't need to go to the labs to give the sample. You can get the test done then and there at a fraction of a cost. So all these things are creating a win-win situation for everyone. So this is what we are doing. It's a device which is a point of care smart device. That is, it generates data as well. More than 95% accuracy and repeatability in comparison to a device which costs 50-60 lakh rupees. Instant results. The auto analyzer, which costs lakhs and lakhs of rupees, takes hours to do the test, whereas our device just takes 2 to 3 seconds. All the other devices for early detection are strip based, which are highly erroneous and have a lot of problems. Our device is based on liquid biochemistry. So we have a difference on that. And a fraction of a cost, what we do the test at. So that's what we have an upper hand USP. So it started in 2013. Actually, the entire process started when my younger sister was pregnant and developed a condition called as pregnancy-induced hypertension. This is one of the biggest causes of fetal-maternal deaths in the world. And this pregnancy needs to be monitored regularly in the last trimester. So my sister was also advised a regular test of proteins in the urine. So she asked Bhaiya if there is something she could test at home, because the test giving the sample to the lab, 600 rupees for the test. Every week you have to get the test and then report. You have to go in the evening or in the next day, collect the report, go to the doctor again. And most of the times things were good. So the doctor continued the treatment. Do we have something that like a blood glucose monitor or a BP machine at home that she could have tested? That was a huge burden on me. I couldn't find reliably anything that could help her. So I said, no, continue with whatever problems you have, but continue with the treatment advised by the doctor. Don't take any chances. Fortunately for my sister, the outcome was good, unlike many other women in India and the world who do not have. Because if the pregnancy-induced hypertension it moves towards preeclampsia, which is a dreadful condition, not much can be done. And that could be easily monitored just by seeing proteins in urine. So this device can be a big game changer. So this was the first prototype out of cardboard boxes. एक मिठाई का डब्बा है छोटा सा और एक दवाई की डब्बी है, उसके डब्बे से बनाया हुआ एक कार्डबोर्ड बॉक्स पे बाहर से प्रोटोटाइपिंग की, अंदर से इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स एंड ऑल दोस थिंग्स आई डिड ऑन माय ओन, एंड दैट्स व्हाट आई डिड माय prototyping. So this was my proof of concept. Yeah, what thought process I'm working on, this works. So then I needed just to improve it, enhance it, and that's when these prototypes kept on coming. So you can see in this electronic board that I've seen, you can see here, these are two almost readily available prototyping boards. I have used them, and that's how we did those initial prototyping process. Cardboard and sunboard was used to make the outer casing. Then this was the next version, third version, then the fourth version, kept on improving along with the looks, along with the functionality. Looks also kept on improving. I was trying with various looks, but all these looks were not convenient. This device has slipped a lot because when you apply a pressure at an angle, the device skids on the surface. So this was not good. So this was the design which was most appropriate for us, that it was comfortable, convenient, easy to carry, and everything was convenient in this. But there was something that was missing. So we added a printer also into that. So these two are same, but only thing is that we have a printer in this version. So adding each feature adds a lot into the internals and the externals of the device. So, but still everything was good. But whenever I showed this device to anyone, people said, "हाँ ये वो card swipe machine जैसा है," and I did not want my product to look like a card swipe machine. We are not a card swipe machine manufacturers. We are a medical device company. We wanted to look different. So got back to the drawing board. We had our limitations and everything. I couldn't afford a product designer. हमारे पास पैसे नहीं थे. Product designers charge somewhere in millions. 10 से 15 लाख रुपए में एक प्रोडक्ट डिजाइन करके देते हैं. तो हमने कहा हम ही करते हैं. I did myself, and this is the final version that we have now. हमने इसके लिए इसके इंजेक्शन मोल्डिंग की में बहुत कॉस्ट लगनी है, तो हमने इसमें वैक्यूम फॉर्मिंग से काम करा रहे हैं, and that's how the final product looks like. So this is the iterative process of what we had talked initially, and what all these things I had done before I'm talking all these things about. Those learning processes came after me. मुझे चीजों के नाम बाद में पता चले, हम काम वो कर रहे थे उसके बारे में. डिजाइन थिंकिंग क्या होती है, यूटिलिटी क्या होती है, अर्गोनॉमिक्स क्या होती है, ये सारी चीजें हम लोगों ने खुद करके देखी, फेल हुए, उसके बाद चेंजेस कर करके उसमें देखे, बहुत सारा मेंटल सिमुलेशन करने के बाद इस प्रोडक्ट तक पहुंचे. That's how the design process works. If you know all those processes up front, you can help yourself reach to this position faster. And so this would help you fail fast, fail easy, so that you can succeed faster. Thank you very much. Thanks for your time. Thanks for your attention. And I'm happy if there are any questions to be answered. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, for your exciting and interesting talk. If participants have any questions, they can type.
Yeah, you can either you can ask, unmute yourself and ask, or you can post it on the chat box.
Yes. There is one question from Dr. Sneha Chandani. What are the other opportunities in medical device industry?
So I'm into diagnostics, so that's why this is one opportunity that we are looking at. Medical industry is full of opportunities, like drug delivery. This is a huge opportunity. Any drug that could be parenterally delivered, that could help in making it painless. Like say, for example, COVID vaccine. If this would have been parenterally injected without a painful injection, this would have made a big difference. Diabetic insulin, there are patches, there are micro pins and micro needles being done. So if we can make a way of delivering drugs through a novel way where you are not creating pain and discomfort to the patients, that is an opportunity. Then drug discovery is already a great opportunity. And if you talk about, I think that there are endless opportunities in medical device industry. And medical device is not only what you have like a spectacle to an MRI machine. They are all medical devices. Design a smart spectacle. That's a new medical device. Design a smaller portable MRI machine. That's a new medical device. So so the opportunities are endless. You just need to have an open mind, look at the problems, and then come to a solution. What most people do is they come up with something and then try to fit it. If I give my clothes to my son, would they fit him? No. So this is what people try to do. They try to fit something that they have developed onto the market, which is totally not going to listen to them. When market does not respect big companies bringing in products, so how could a unwanted thing be accepted? So try to look. So the right way is, so there is a biodesign way of, so Stanford University developed a way of creating medical devices or solutions. So what they do is they make teams of people who are interdisciplinary. That gives a broader way. Then it's a process to learn to unlearn. So say for example, I go to a hospital and just keep everything that I know about a hospital system aside. Just look at things. Don't ask people. Because if I ask anyone, what's your problem? There are so many problems. I have to come to the office. I have to do this. I have to do that. So you won't come to the real problem. Because if they had known the problem, there would have been a solution to that. So, and you have to fill the gap. So try to see where you can make things easier. Just like a mop, पोछा लगाने का, पहले लोग झुक के पोछा लगाते थे. जब हॉस्पिटल्स हुए, बड़े बड़े बिल्डिंग्स बनने लगे, So it became very difficult to bowl for a long duration and wipe it. So mops with long standing rods came up, and those mops became famous. That is how an innovation came in. Someone saw that this is a problem. I'll just give you an example how out of the box thinking can be brought into anywhere. There was a large building. Why multi-story buildings were not being made in the early 19th century, late 19th and early 20th century? Because people could not climb stairs. Someone thought of a machine that could lift people from the ground floor to the top floor. And that's when now you have Burj Khalifa, which is almost 800 meters tall. A small innovation where a machine that could lift people from the ground floor to the top floor, and that's when the problem got solved. So this is how you think of a problem statement and solutions come up. And then an entire new ecosystem gets developed. Jio brought in telephone system, internet at a very low cost, and altogether digital economy, digital health, digital e-learning, everything became so successful. Swiggy, Zomato, Baiju would have never become what they are today if Jio would not have come at that price. So if we talk about, if you don't have roads, how can you expect a development of a society? So similarly, you have to think out of the box, and opportunities are endless opportunities.
Thank you, sir. It's really a good and elaborated answer. And
there is a direct message as well to me, sir.
Yes, sir.
Sir, what is capitalism? And one more question is that, what is the central point of entrepreneurship? So capitalism basically means it's a way of thinking of people. Like America is a capitalist country where they believe in business, money, and everything, center of everything is money. Communist thought process is in capitalism, there is always a competition. I have an equal opportunities. Like today, I'm not among the billionaires of the world, but because of my own efforts, I have all the opportunities to become a billionaire. None of these billionaires who are today are billionaires from generation. They are all first generation billionaires. So this is because they were in a capitalist country. On the other hand, communist thinking is that there should be no discrepancy. No one should be poor. No one should be rich. The money should be taken from the rich and given to the poor, so that the poor come out of poverty and rich do not become too rich. That is what China is. So because of that, people lose the motivation to do anything new. Why would anyone see if, for example, your professor today said, I would pass everyone whether they appear in the exam or not. So I'm sure, sir, in your class, no one would come for the entire year and not even appear for the examination, because they have lost the motivation. That is what is the lack of communists. So the communist countries have totally failed. Russia failed. China failed. China has turned up into pseudo-communist. They have a communist thought process, but they are aggressively capitalist. They are the most ruthless capitalist country in the world now. They have a capitalism does not kill others, but China has a capitalist thought which kills others. So that is a wrong capitalism. So that is what is capitalism. And what is the central point for entrepreneurship? Money is never a central point for entrepreneurship. If you're doing entrepreneurship to become a billionaire, keep it in writing. You would never succeed, because money cannot drive you against all the odds. You need is a lot of motivation and that passion to create something. Now I can proudly say I have a product, I have a medical device in the market. So that pride, that feeling of self-sufficiency, and that that helps to drive the entrepreneurship. It's never the money, it's the purpose that drives. And money is just the byproduct. Money is just the byproduct. The guys who created Zomato never worked for money. They just thought of created something that helped you sitting at home get the best food delivered at your doorstep at a small cost. And when they helped crores and crores of people. And that's when now the byproduct money has come to them. So that is what is entrepreneurship. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. We have one more question in chat box. What courses can be done to have the understanding to work in this area?
Courses, nowadays, many online courses and offline courses are being offered by institutes and all these things. But my dear friend, entrepreneurship is more of it's a passion, it's a fire within. It's not that you could be taught to become an entrepreneur. You can be taught to become a management person, like an MBA degree. You can be taught to improve your skills. But entrepreneurs, my friends, are born. They are born out of passion. They are born out of that strong will to change the world. That feeling only can make entrepreneurs. But yes, entrepreneurship courses help your journey to become smoother. This talk, what I'm giving, sharing my experience, the incubation environment that your institution gives can help a lot in helping you. Like my institute helped me a lot from becoming what I am today to what I was 6 years, 7 years ago. So that is what they help you. They cut off all those unwanted things, hone only those skills which are needed. And that is what is this courses on entrepreneurship can help you. No doubt they help you, but you need to have that fire within that burns and keeps you moving.
Rightly said, sir. For entrepreneurship, we need to have the inner feelings to become an entrepreneur. So there's one more question. So to develop a handheld device, how to go for it? Like there are many devices and machines are now more preferred.
Okay. So this is Varsha Yogesh. So Varsha, a handheld device, you have to, now you have a basic understanding of how a design process goes. So now think about that. Design your product, not your product. Design how your product would look, and then don't go for manufacturing on day one. Still, after 6 years, we don't have a mold final for our product because it's a continuous journey of improvement. So when you have adequate orders to fulfill, then only get a mold made for that. 3D printing is the best thing that you can get right now. 3D printing, with that, you can have a look and immediately have a product looking like that. All the electronics could be fitted in and your product could look like a product very soon. So initially, products are even manufactured and sold on 3D printed body parts. So don't worry upon that. Don't go for looking for manufacturers because they'll waste your time, they'll waste your efforts, charge exorbitantly high. Go for a 3D printing. Your institution can help you in 3D printing. Or a 3D printer starts at 15,000 rupees. Buy your own 3D printer if you want.
Sir, can I ask you a question? Varsha here. So,
yes, ma'am.
Sir, you have shown that device. So you have also gone for manufacturer, gone to manufacturer. How you have done that? Can you tell us?
Yes. So I'll just show you the device again.
Sir, I am watching that on your website also.
Yes.
So...
Yes. So the device that we have developed is basically now what we are doing is, since we are into the market, getting 3D printed devices in large number is not cost effective and convenient. And there are a lot of problems with 3D printed parts. They get cracked. They don't have a fine finish. They need a lot of machining to make it a final product. They are good to look as a prototype, but when you need to get a final product that is ready to roll into the market, then you need. So what we have done here is, we have done what you call it as vacuum forming. This is a method called as vacuum forming. You don't need costly molds and dies for it, but each unit costs high for that, but it is affordable because we are not going in thousands and lakhs of units per month or per year. That's why Vacuum forming is a way where you can get those things done. I can share the details of the manufacturer who does it for us. If you want, I can do that. You can connect with me offline.
Okay, sir, and one more thing, I am watching on your website that some of the grants you got. So can you highlight on that BIRAC and all those? So whether means can you tell us that how to go for that? Because every time from our pocket it is not possible.
Yes.
So
yeah. So as I told you now, the Startup India policies laid down in 2016 has made it very easy to give grants to startups and individuals, which was not previously possible. So BIRAC started in 2012, way before the Startup India policy. So this is basically an organization under Department of Biotechnology, Government of India. So they have their website BIRAC.nic.in. So you can go and register yourself there, and they have a lot of opportunities from proof of concept stage to a final market ready product to commercialization investments as well. So these opportunities are simple. Initially, you get grants in which you don't need to repay the money back. It's the money given to you to develop, but you have to be very particular about using the money. So BIRAC has the big grant, BIG, Biotechnology Ignition Grant, for all those who are working in life sciences and something to do with healthcare. They can leverage this opportunity. You have twice a year opportunity is opening up. Oh, it is 15th of July. So the 1st of July, the calls for BIRAC every year from 1st of January to 15th of February and 1st of July to 15th of August. Every year, twice a year, these calls for proposals open up. Fill those forms online, all the details that they require. And if your project goes through their technical committee, evaluation committee, you can go through that and win that grant. We won two grants from BIRAC, one from Millennium Alliance and one from recently from Ministry of Electronics and IT. That's the Sashakt grant. And we have been developing a product with that. So that is there, and keep an eye on all these grant opportunities. I think that if your students and you are interested in entrepreneurship, so everyone must download that Startup India app by Government of India. All the grant opportunities that are there in the country keep popping up with on whenever the grant is released or announced, and whenever there is a last date. So that gives a direct link to that as well, and so that's a great thing that could help you. So yeah.